Yes.
Okay, live, I think it's seeing the countdown. Yes. Okay, so good evening, everybody. Good evening to all our viewers, and good evening to our esteemed trainers, coaches, and leaders of the world. I, Veena Dhandhia, I am truly honored to be chatting and conversing with Siri Guru Prakash Kaur Khalsa and Satpuram Singh Khalsa on the International Coaching Week platform. On behalf of the global coaching community and the training fraternity, I warmly welcome you to the fourth episode of the series of interviews on ancient Indian wisdom for transformational coaching. Okay, so who am I? I am a life enrichment director through my roles as an ICF-PCC life, happiness, and relationships coach. I'm a mentor, corporate trainer, author, and an NLP practitioner. Using NLP and the InnerMost shift methods with the addition of music and dance therapy, I empower people to enrich their lives, to evolve from being extraordinary people to extraordinary people and living their life to the best version possible and becoming the best version of themselves. So, what does this do? This raises their happiness quotient. So, in short, I aspire to inspire. And I have with me my esteemed gurus and coaches for whom I'm always grateful, eternally grateful for all that they've done for us students and fellow coaches. So, delving right into the topic for today, ancient Indian wisdom for transformational coaching. This uses a process of self enquiry and self realization to understand the true nature of the self and its reality, and provides a framework for transformation. The Vedantic teachings help individuals recognize their true identity through self awareness, detachment, and compassion. So, now introducing Siri Guru Prakash Kaur Khalsa and Satpuram Singh Khalsa. They are co directors of the InnerMost Shift coaching model, a model which has transformed the lives of millions of people inside out with the innate belief that all potentials are within us already. They are ICF-MCC coaches and mentor coaches with 4,000 plus coaching hours. And needless to say, they have trained, guided, and mentored people like me, coaches like me, towards ICF credentials, me for my PCC. Personally speaking, friends, viewers, we couldn't have had better gurus with the kind of love and warmth they shower on their students. Yes, I'm always in awe of Sat Sir. He's meticulous, a hard hitter, but for our own good. And he doesn't release you until he's satisfied with our efforts and that we reach a level that he's fine with. Siri Ram has a friendly conversational attitude, but again, at the same time, she's always goading us to do better and better. I remember me telling her once that I wanted to do the ACC as accreditation. She simply turned around politely and firmly said, as a matter of fact, no, you are doing the PCC. And that was that. So thank you so much for guiding me in that right light. I know I'm taking an extra minute, but I needed to definitely share this experience. They are both Dr. Risha Bandler's licensed trainers as master NLP practitioners, certified in Marshall Goldsmith's stakeholder centered coaching. And not only this, they're profoundly in tune with Jack Canfield's success principles. They started their journey 30 years ago with Alpha Stars with an aim to help people achieve the best version for themselves. And they have coached tons of team leaders and senior leaders and executives from all parts of life and have done their PhDs in intuitive intelligence and quantum leap. I would like to have them both, in their own words, in a sentence, to tell us what their purpose in life is. So, Sat Sir, what is your purpose in life?
See, the purpose in life as a human being, I have a purpose in life to create better human beings. And I believe that purpose is ever evolving rather than just it can be a fixed way. So at the moment, I'm working with a single-minded purpose to help people to get what we have got in its full sanctity, in its full sacredness, in full
Mm.
transparency. And I'm
Mhm.
in the process of every single day crystallizing the learning in a good model so that people can take a good framework, concept, ideas, and thoughts from us. So, single mindedly helping people adopt
Oh,
the excellence that we have experienced and rather exceed that. That's the purpose I'm presently living with.
Okay, that's
And
the
that's most
pure,
relevant to
the
the
pure offering from the Satsar. And Siri ma'am, what would you say, like if you were to explain? I know it's a very big topic in a line or two. What is
yeah,
your purpose
I
in life?
understand that. I think that the basic purpose, I would say two ways. One is for myself, and one is what you're giving back to the world, right? For myself, it's about seeking and becoming that embodiment of my guru, whom in my mind, he's the topmost guru, and becoming that embodiment of love. It's still a journey. I would not say it's completed. Many, many times there's always a dip, and then you try to come up. And the other purpose is when it comes to giving, it's helping people to really get in touch with their own true selves.
Mm.
If we are able to do that, we are helping them to become very good individuals, what we should be, right? But fortunately or unfortunately, the experiences of life mold us in a different way. So the
Right.
purpose is to help them so that they can evolve. They can be that also embodiment of love and also create that love around themselves so that we can have a better world of people who are loving, who are contributing, who are giving, who are sharing, than
Yes.
just being, thinking about their own self. So that's the purpose which I live by.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for your thoughts and your sharing of this. It's so important to know that we are not to be superficial beings. We have to peel layers and layers off and get to the root of our self identity. So, okay, now on the ancient Indian wisdom for transformational coaching, Satsa, I had a very interesting observation I felt yesterday. Yesterday, you had mentioned the sanctity and sacredness of ancient wisdom and its application as in a revolution for evolution. I found that really
Mhm.
beautiful. So, could you throw a little more light on that?
See, it's like this that every person deep down in their heart wants to actually evolve and wants to be at peace first, peace with themselves. And what comes on their way is the own layers, different layers that we undergo and we
Yeah.
uh, get layered with. And this is where the ancient wisdom principles help us to first understand that who are we actually? And it's a very profound self-inquiry. And everybody has a good beginning point. To begin with, we might think that we are this body, and that's okay for us. So we say that the whole self. So considering the whole of our existence in all layers of life, our mind, our body, our heart, our emotion, our thinking and thoughts, everything. When we understand what we all encompass, that is the time we go deep down. So there is a way to move from point A to point B, and there is a way to ask ourselves, where am I in my point A? And
Yeah.
where what is stopping me to move to point B from a deeper awareness,
Hmm.
from a sense of expansiveness and awareness. So when I say that evolution to create revolution, when we understand our true identity and existence as a whole, and we navigate to that beingness, from there we understand that where are we. Like for example, when we are taking Google Map today, and when we put a Google Map, just opening a Google Map doesn't mean that we will go where. It asks, okay, where you are and where you want to go. And then it also asks, you want to drive or you want to walk.
Yeah.
So it asks the ways to do that.
Mhm.
So where am I, from which perspective? I want to know. From the understanding of my own, you can say, vasanas, my own resistance, my own pravartis, my own thoughts, my own way of intentions. So
Mm,
I have my
Mhm.
conditioning and I have my aspiration. So when I say that evolve to create revolution, that means coming in face to face with your whole of self and not rejecting any part of you, not trying to hide any part of you, but rather finding out that what is making me this where I am, what is making me think where, but the way I'm thinking. So
mm,
I'll just give you a very practical and small example. Long ago, I used to be in the same rat race as everyone is. And,
mm,
people would say, that person, a kind of robe the person is wearing, and the robe doesn't take person there where the person wants to be. So no point wearing a robe like this. No.
mm,
And from one point of it, it is okay. And from the another point of view is that if a person is wearing some kind of a attire or a robe, or person is pretending something, that means person is tending something. And that tending part is very beautiful part, which we miss out. So the person's whole attire, whole robe, the kind of uh, color person has chosen to wear is in fact indicating person's deeper desire, and now person is showing up.
mm.
So between this showing up and the what person is owing and showing, if
Mm.
person understand from a
That's right.
expensiveness,
Mm,
now person knows, okay, what is making me show up and what can I now own. Similarly, where do I want to go? And that could be a very false kind of a goal in my mind, and
mm.
actually what I'm aspiring. That requires to go and delve deep within us. And from
Yeah.
there, we understand our own limitation and how are we aspiring and how are we conspiring. So between aspiring and conspiring, that means my strategic move, I'm trying to use all tricks and treats. There is something very beautiful. But even all this part, oh, this is bad. Okay, then I am rejecting something which is deep inside me. I'm
Yeah.
aspiring. So the
Mm,
conspiration and aspiration, the conspiracy and the aspiration both are necessary for me to understand very
mm,
distant and realistic vantage point of view. So realizing from the wholeness, where am I? What am I actually wanting? Wherever to go, what is taking me up there, what can be a better choice here. So that's called, evolution to create a revolution. Maybe in your family, it doesn't matter. Maybe in your organization, maybe
okay.
in the trade you are in, profession you are in, business you are in. So this is the answer to that statement that I gave.
Wow. Wow. Thank you so much for the profound sharing of that knowledge, that enrichment, which is actually talking about the depth, and that is a revolution. We ourselves are a revolution in ourselves. And that is just so beautiful. Thank you so much, sir. So, coming to Siri, ma'am, I just wanted to ask you that we say that we are moving with the times, or we should move with the times. Just for our viewers' understanding, how can any knowledge that is so ancient be applicable in today's digital times? Meaning, how does the ancient fuse with the modernity or the modern? How does that happen?
See, actually, it's a very wonderful question when we talk about the ancient Indian wisdom and how it's fused with the modern times. It's something. Actually, the wisdom is always there. It's only we have categorized as ancient and modern. Human beings, since the time we have developed as a body which is straight, we have started working. It's been the same human being. We have the same system, we have the same behaviors, we have the same emotions. right?
Mm-hmm.
So the ancient Indian wisdom, which came from the sages, which came from saints, which came from rishis, the people who got the wisdom, they just put it that how a human behavior, how a human form, how a human interaction should be, right?
Okay.
But unfortunately, that has got all left out because we have never been able to know that from the true teachers or the gurus, right? And that wisdom is no more taught even in schools and colleges. But if somebody can be a very good engineer, but when it comes to relationship, they might not have a good relationship because they are too much technical. The brain is too much left oriented. So there's
Yeah.
a disbalance in the life. So ancient Indian wisdom or ancient wisdom was about balancing your life in different
Mm,
areas of life. So it
mm,
remains the same. Now, when it comes to modern times, like I feel there's no difference, only we are categorizing ancient and modern. But the only difference which I feel in these times is we are unable to live like that because nobody has ever taught us that. So, if the ancient Indian wisdom can still be taught, if it can
mm,
be taught that how can you live your life in a more beautiful way? How should
mm.
I interact with the person in my family and how should I interact with the person in my neighbor? Like what you call as Vasudev Kutumbakai. That means whole world is your family, but do we really live it? No, because we are not taught like that. So we
Mm.
have been taught that okay, what you're doing is meant for you, what you're doing is meant for maximum for your family. So we have limited our sphere of understanding. So this wisdom or knowledge has been flowing from many, many ages. But unfortunately, we have got lost with this because there is no touch. Nobody has ever taught you. Nobody has ever taught if today I'm getting angry, how do I understand my body behavior? And how
Mm.
do I truly work on myself so that I'm able to hold myself to be more resilient or be more
Okay.
patient? And
Yeah.
how can be I truly a good listener? Right. So if we convert that into more, kind of more in a structured way, which we have got it from the West, that how do you put it in the structure? How do you understand the structure of experience? How you're able to do it? I think then it can be more, it's being more wisely used or not used, depends on each individual still, right? Okay. So
Mm.
if we are able to put this, so if we have a different school today, which teaches you, okay, this is history, this is geography, this is science, that's all
Yeah.
okay. But when I come out of it, how am I going to behave with my own self? If I am in stress because of any reason, how do I handle
Mm.
myself? Right?
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
if somebody is in my family is not well, I can take care of it because they are my next kin or kid. But what happens to my neighbor? Am I not
Mm.
connected to that person? You know,
Mm.
right?
Mm.
So, like, I
Mm.
think there's a very famous saying. I don't remember the place that there's butterflies. Sir, if you remember, there are butterflies in some part of the world. I think it's, and then you have rain in some other part of the world,
Shanghai.
right? Okay.
Shanghai can create
Sorry,
storm
Shanghai.
in
Shanghai.
California.
Yes,
Yeah.
Yeah.
right. So just imagine that, and even the world with this virus, what has came out. Okay, no good or bad. I'm not talking about that, but it has all taught us that how much interconnected we are.
Yeah.
So the even the universe, even the things which are happening, they are giving us a clue and understanding that you're all interconnected. If I do something here, it affects people maybe in Africa, but we are not aware of it. Right? That
Yes.
was ancient Indian
Absolutely.
wisdom. Right. So
Absolutely.
if I
Ab-
become totally aware today that if I'm behaving good with my family, what kind of repercussions is going to have to the next generation and to the next generation and to my system all around, probably we
mm.
can actually use it in a much much better way. And
Mm.
instead of just calling it ancient Indian wisdom, we can actually live it in a more beautiful and more scientific way also right now. Why did we learn
Right.
it? Right.
So this is applicable
I think that's
here, now, and forever, basically. So take note,
whatever, absolutely.
viewers. Yes, and take note, viewers. Something that Chiri ma'am said that I resonate with completely. We have a dearth. We have a dearth of teaching in educational institutions, teaching of wisdom, teaching of interconnectedness, teaching of how do I handle failure. So all these kinds of things which are interconnected with everyone else in the world, it's something definitely for all educational institutions to look up to and imbibe in their syllabus or in their schedule somewhere or the other. And I'm sure she'll be the right person to guide you further on that. Thank you so much for that. Beautiful. Thank you. So
Thank you.
moving on to sorry, sir, you're saying something? Okay.
Yeah.
So moving on to InnerMost shift coaching and how it enables transformations and has imbibed the wisdom from ages. So, sir, another question that people might have is many coaches feel that, oh, I can be successful without any professional qualification, right? So, how do we justify the innermost shift framework and best? How do we justify it in a short way for them?
Uh, I couldn't get the question very clearly. Can you just put the question
Okay,
a little more
so
clearly? Yeah.
no problem. I'll repeat that. So, I think many coaches feel that, oh, I can be successful without any professional qualifications. So, how do we help them understand
Okay. Okay.
and justify the innermost shift framework and best to them?
Um, all right. So let me put it this way. You know that uh, we are natural counselors, we are natural advisors, and we naturally, what we experience, want to pull the people out of that experience. And it's true from the ancient times. So, ancient times, I just go to the ancient times and replay it in my mind that, let's say that I'm feeling hungry and feeling threatened. And how does the other person sensing it is through my expressions. And how am I sensing that person is hungry and threatened or fearful is through the expressions. No, no, there is no language. There is maybe I'm trying, ooh, 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 ooh. Okay. So I am feeling something and I'm sensing something. And the other person is when feeling like me and I'm sensing that person is in the same kind of state. And if let's say in that moment, if I push myself to some tree and pluck something and put inside, and I move my physiology from like being tired and exhausted to good. Now I want to give the other person the same experience. I pull the same person towards the same tree and same fruit, or I make the person go through the same experience. So human beings have always tried to give people the same experience, what uplifts them. That's exactly this entire discipline of coaching is. That how do you connect people to their own realization? Now, it's a very disciplined approach. It's not an ordinary approach because over the time we have become kind of advisor, consultant, trainer, or counselors very naturally.
Yeah,
But because we've been doing like this, that what we went through, we just pushed the other person to go through the same experience. Now, over the time, what has changed is people have pocketed and isolated themselves out as if like my life is my life and nobody can give me the experience which I want. Okay, because of the complexity arising there. Now, this is where if we have to connect people to their own realization, one requires a very disciplined approach. One required a very, very sensitive approach so that you don't intrude in the territory of the other person. Because the moment you intrude, you tend to guide, the person withdraws himself, herself. Now, because they don't want to go through this same choice
yeah,
or the same solution that the other person has.
hmm,
Because our we are not only unique, our circumstances are also unique. So when this is the truth, every coach, I believe, must take a very disciplined education. Now, there could be 0.0001% people who are very good in it, right? However, even if we go back to our ancient times, all of the people who helped others, they were quite, they, they worked very hard with themselves and allowed the wisdom to dawn on them that how do we uplift this kind of people? How do we uplift the people who are frustrated, tired,
right.
depressed,
Hmm,
violent? So it's just not that they followed the same approach. Now that time the wisdom dawned on them. Now the wisdom is spread as
hmm,
information available. Now
hmm,
I take a piece of information and I try to apply it without any experience and knowledge and then discipline. So when I say professional training, I mean
hmm,
that learning to discipline yourself to follow a particular approach with full sacredness and sanctity in a manner that
hmm.
you help the person to come out of that suffering, finding
Yeah,
their own good way. Right? So when I say professional training, I mean a very disciplined approach if need to be developed. Now,
Yeah.
fortunately, if you take a good professional training and following the norms that even the professional coaching has laid down and people has evolved it, and it is a very good approach. So giving them the framework of the innermost shift coaching, we take care of that. They learn a good discipline of approach and giving them the way they can help the people to get to their best. We have devised a complete good model and the way they must interact, we have devised a very good model. So this model is to discipline their approach, which the other side of the same coin is being more professional. Okay. So
Okay.
this how I believe that this model that we have created is, and with the sanctity we are giving is adhering the norms that people should become more focused, disciplined, and aware of their approach.
Right.
So that's
Thank you.
my intro to that.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Sir, for the imbibing of discipline. So I believe all the viewers must have gotten their answer from them as to what is actually required, not just general coaching. Thank you so much for that insight. So coming to let's come to the book now. Let's say so the book of interactional excellence that we've written. So I've noted a particular thing here as the second essential. So this book has titles with different essentials. So Shiri ma'am, there's a statement which goes, I found this one very interesting. Have them become interested in what you have to offer. Now the general statement would be have them interested in what you have to offer. So why should one become interested as opposed to just be interested?
Mhm. Okay. So let me show you the author's copy. So you've got one.
Yes,
You know.
yay!
So
Beautiful.
okay.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. So when we're talking of to become interested, general statement is that if you are interested, when
Yes.
you say okay, let them be interested, then the choice is left whether they will be or they will not be. But when it comes to interactional excellence and being a coach or an awakener, when you say have them become interested, that means you're also understanding and giving a mind in their mind a thought that they have to be ready for it. When you said to become interested, then the readiness factor is one which is required, and that is in fact required in anything, any interaction when you're doing as a seeker and as an awakener. If I just go back a little statement, in the ancient times when we're talking of the wisdom, a guru would only take that shishya who would be ready. If the shishya is not ready, they will not accept them as a shishya. So when you say ready, so it's becoming ready, right? And
Yeah.
then readiness as a seeker, as a client, is also about, you know, emptying your own mind. Because if you are coming as a seeker, as a client, obviously you want to go to the next level. But if you're still holding on to your own patterns and you don't want to drop them, then you're not becoming ready,
Hmm.
right? Then you may be interested or maybe not. So the important word of becoming is also indicates the readiness of the person, which is very, very important, especially in a coaching scenario. Right. In fact, it could
Okay.
be in any scenario, even to a parenting, when you're doing parenting to a child, when you're being a parent. If the child is not ready, you cannot do anything. I've seen, young children, 3, 4 year old, the mother is running around the whole day, making them wanting to eat, but the child is not ready to eat. So you may do
Yeah.
whatever. The child is only in the fun state. So that become word is very, very essential from the point of view of a
Yeah.
seeker, right? That's why we
Great.
say to let them
Great.
become interested.
Okay, that's really nice. Beckham become interested. This reminds me of learning. We can say that we are learning, but the person who doesn't want to learn, how do you inculcate the interest in him to want to learn? So it's like, okay, getting him to develop that interest for learning and become a
Yeah,
continuous learner for later. So this
absolutely.
is so
Ab-
beautifully depicted by you. Thank you so much for that. So time is just running past, but like I'm enjoying myself so much with you both. So I think we'll have time for one more question. I would really like to ask you, sir. Um, Make listening actively a way of being. This is also from the book. Make listening actively a way of being. So, could you share an incident from our history, or maybe incident that you, any where listening has led to great results, more than ever expected?
All right. So, well, history is a mystery, and I'm not a history student, so
No, it can be from
I,
your life
I cannot.
experience.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So I will give the famous example of Arjuna and Krishna interacting, and
Okay.
so he's first asking him to do the act of listening, and then eventually he gave a lot of space. And how he gave his space is, but there are different versions to it, and I'm explaining the version which I understand and which is giving me a solace, that he came to decongest his mind
Hmm.
and let all the toxicity in the mind and the vasanas and the barriers in the mind to dissipate, and see the Virat Rupa as Akasha
Hmm.
and expand to that
Mhm.
consciousness. And from that consciousness, he said that now let this be your way of being, so that I just cannot make keep doing that, see that, listen that, hear that, feel that. So when this becomes as a way of being, then the person has evolved to continuously listening actively without doing it. So the day-to-day example is, the kid walks in or the child walks in at home, and the mother is asking, well, how was your day? And he's saying, don't talk about the day, what do you have to take from it? Now, listening actively here is that he doesn't want to talk about it at this moment.
Yeah.
And rather than translating that into, well, he stopped paying me any respect, he wants to hide things, and he has become a person of his own might and own kind. And now the mother is not listening actively. And despite doing it, she is not being. So, being listening actively is that, well, the child has not simply shared the things in this moment, okay,
Yeah.
and something is going on in the head, and begin listening that. So when she makes that the way of listening, he said, I respect and I understand that you don't want me to ask, rather than saying you don't want to share. So
Hmm.
if that
Hmm.
moment she says, I understand that you don't want to share, this goes. But when I say,
Hmm.
I understand that you don't want me to ask, it's like
Hmm.
what
Hmm.
you can do, and you have listened that
Hmm.
person is not wanting to you to ask, and not about
Yeah.
sharing, it's
Yeah.
about
Yeah.
asking. So
Yeah.
a simple paradigm shift is way of being, listening actively.
Yeah.
Okay,
That's
and
inner
many
shift.
parents miss it out. Right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
That's so,
I
so
agree.
beautiful, and such a,
So,
beautiful everyday example of listening actively. It's like reading between the lines. And so when a child comes home and he says, he doesn't say that I've had a hard day, I want to talk. He will say, can you play with me? So that's actively listening and reading between the lines and understanding, acha, he's stressed for some reason, he's got a lot on his mind, let me diffuse it for him. Thank you so much. That's a beautiful example, sir. And Siri ma'am, both of you, thank you so much. And I think our time is getting up, but like I'm not, I feel like going on and on. And I am just so very, very honored, very, very happy that I am here in this space. And I would like to close the session by thanking you so much for your profound wisdom, your enriching knowledge. And viewers, thank you for your time and attention. Thank you, ICF, for the International Coaches Week platform. But the golden nuggets of ancient wisdom, transformational innermost shift. coaching, and interactional excellence cannot be summed up in so short a time. So, viewers, tune in tomorrow at 12:30 p.m. IST as more nuggets are unraveled and more gold is sprayed. I'm waiting for that. And let the magic unfold with our dear esteemed gurus and mentors. Thank you so much. Very, very grateful. Thank
Thank
you.
you. Thank you.
Thank
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you.
you.
Thank
Thank you so much.